one of our teachers, well, the first thing that he told me was, we need to first, if we want to heal, if we want to be worth it, et cetera, pp. First thing that we need to do is admit to ourselves that we are full of shit.
What is going on, family? This is episode 4, I believe, number 4. And today I got a special guest with me today. So it's a family member. It's interesting because me living in Europe now, I have the opportunity to connect with him more, even on a spiritual level, and just physically being able to be around him and adopt some of his teachings. He's come to the States a few times too, but he's currently living in Paris, and I think you've lived in Europe the majority of your life, I would say. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, born and raised in Heidelberg, Germany.
Yes. So see, even though we haven't had a lot of time to connect, I do know that it's been a line for us to connect, because this man, I've been watching him during my time in the States, and he has just been really on the path. And in a physical sense, he really is, I would say, a master and a practitioner of yoga. And just based on some of the things that he's told me about yoga is definitely a direct correlation to spirituality and the collective in a way that I didn't even understand. So I'm going to allow my good friend, my cousin, to step on in here and talk a little bit about what it is that he does, so that way we can get this episode rolling. What's going on with you? How you doing, man? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. The little one is at the daycare mother, wife is out, so it's always good. We have a little bit of time for your own self, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
yes. Yeah, man. So we're over here in Lyon, France, not in Paris. Just I think day number 4 of our second lockdown due to the COVID situation. And but then French, man. They cut their king's head off, so they don't really care too much about authority over here, so more or less you should stay at home. Not everybody follows, they always got some reason to demonstrate for one thing or the other. So
yes.
It's basically the country where revolutions were born, right? So this is where it comes from. So you cannot really expect too much compliance from the French people.
Yes. Which is interesting to think about, man. I did not even think about it in that way. He said that these people cut their own kings off, cut their kings' heads off. So they definitely not worried about the government and no COVID situation. They're not worried by any means necessary.
Yeah. They do, but then they don't. They're they're the French are funny, man. I don't know. It's like I said, they just love to demonstrate, man. They really. But because it's in their constitution, right? Liberty for all, fraternity for all, brotherhood and all these things. So they actually live in it. They actually really live in it. They have they love their freedom, they love, to just live. They really love to live, with an entire culture of, eating out, having your wine and all that. The French really love to live, man.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I've noticed too, just based on, the movies that I've watched and some people that I've spoke with that have been to France and have been to Europe. It's a very, very, I don't want to say liberal, but people are really free. They don't root themselves to anything. They just are. And that's one thing that I've always been very, very intrigued about when it comes to living in Europe. It's a different type of energy here. A lot of people are just moving and grooving, doing their own thing. But at the same time, there is this underlying weight to it as well. And I think that that's just based on the amount of history that's here in Europe as well, just how long this land has been here. So it definitely is something that I've been thinking about. I would say it was right when COVID kicked off. I started making videos, and I was speaking about shadow work, and you had reached out to me and you had spoke to me. You had said that a lot of what I was speaking on with shadow work was in relation to a specific type of literature that is spoken about within yoga. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Yeah. So interestingly, all of the New Age spirituality, shadow work, human retention, what you're also talking about a lot, is actually nothing new.
Right.
All these things,
yes.
they have been around, like since millennia, So,
Yes.
but just now, or now maybe I guess since like Eastern thought, Eastern philosophy has reached the West, maybe since I would say maybe going back to the what you call it, the Madame Blavatsky. The name rings a bell. It's like the Theosophical Society. That was a thing around the time of just studying the 20th hundreds, 1900s, something. So about that time, like all of like, or a lot of spiritual thought, Eastern thought came to Europe, and then of course in the 60s, like with the flower children, all of the hippies, they got even more into yoga and meditation. And now it seems like there's like this form of like third wave, where it basically reaches into any day like Western society. Like everybody nowadays knows about mindfulness meditation, right? I mean, right. You can ask basically any American on the street, mindfulness meditation, yes, rings a bell. Yoga, yes, rings a bell. Tai Chi, yes, rings a bell. So these things have been around for a very, very long time. But then at the same time, there's some, like cultural appropriation happening.
Yes.
So big time. If you're talking about, like the semen retention and all these things, all this stuff has been mentioned in old scriptures of yoga, like to I really dislike using terms like kundalini and chakras and all these things, because there's just a lot of misconception about it. But these things have just been around for a very, very long time. And even in like, if you're talking about the semen retention, like it's the same purpose why they do it in the Roman Catholic Church. But as we all know, it's not going right all the time. If you're looking at all of the pedophile cases and sexual abuse cases there as well. So it's not only, okay, I'm not, like, excuse my French, bust a nut, and I'm gonna reach, like to higher planes. So there are actually more things that need and should go with it. So I think one of the books I forwarded to you, like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the eightfold path of yoga, we have the first step is actually yama, which means like the constraints. So there's things like non-stealing, non-harming, all these things. These are all individual practices in itself, which one should practice with, the brahmacharyas, also mentioned in the Yoga Sutras, in the yamas and niyamas as well, which on one side means celibacy, so basically retaining your semen. But then again, it is not only retain the semen, but there's also like a whole philosophy behind it. So, and when I'm talking about cultural appropriation, I mean that, like, in the West, we always only like to take the things out that we like, but not necessarily what we need. So if you just only do the things, if you only take the things out that you like, but you totally neglect the things that you actually need, then that's where things go wrong. That's where things will not have, I don't want to say necessarily the intended effect, but you need to be careful with all these things. It's not, you need to not play around with these things, because when I say that these things were mentioned in like old yogic texts, well, who were the authors of these yogic texts? These people were basically, we call them rishis, seers, and they were basically scientists, but not scientists with regard to, okay, like the static of a bridge, not like on the engineering level or chemistry level, but scientists of the internal world, So they did their thesis, they did their bachelor's, they did their master's, they did their PhDs, but not like,
these masters and these doctors on the eastern side of the world, they're not the ones in the white lab coats. You know what I mean? They're not the ones that were indoctrinated because of a piece of paper that says that you're a doctor. They actually went through the practice themselves, and they went through the journey themselves. And some would argue and say that becoming an individual that's high on the hierarchy of being within the medical field is also a journey within itself. Going to school, yes, okay, maybe that's debatable. But when we're speaking on actual experience and knowledge that is being passed down to other people, and people are practicing, or people are choosing to adopt these ways and choosing to practice this lifestyle, it can be extremely detrimental for somebody who's uninitiated, because as you just said, they're only taking what their ego likes from it. They're not taking in the fruit of what they actually need. And it's interesting that you mentioned cultural appropriation, because I wasn't aware of what that meant. I was speaking with a friend yesterday, and she had enlightened me about it. And then once she mentioned it, and then you just mentioned it, and I started thinking back to a lot of times to where I actually see that on social media today. A lot of people, or some people, are really adopting and are stepping into energies that they themselves don't understand. And in the midst of doing that, they're also spreading this knowledge as well. And that kind of, my source within me doesn't really like that, man. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. And it doesn't, not that it doesn't like it in a way of like you're bad or that individual is bad. It doesn't like it because I know that they're coming from a place of genuine. I know that they're coming from a place of being compassionate, because they're just doing the best that they can with the level of awareness that they can by healing people, which in a way that they think they should. With that being said, there are a lot of people out there today in the collective, on social media, in this headspace, because the world is changing into a new age. A lot of people are thirsty for truth. And we're not just speaking on any truth. They're thirsty for the truth of, what have I been lied to? Who am I? Why am I here? A lot of people are asking themselves the bigger questions. And I step into the play, and I ask these individuals who are delivering these messages and who are delivering this knowledge amongst these people. I ask, at least in my assertion, I believe that I ask valid questions to try and formulate some sense of balance. Because if there isn't a sense of balance, then this information can be sucked up by the wrong individual from an egotistical standpoint, and then they can use it from a place of power. They can use it from a place of lack. And that begets the you versus me thing, the black versus white thing. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's upsetting to me, because I recently just had a conversation with a woman on social media about women, or melanated women back then, having the ability to be asexual. And I didn't even know that that was the case. I'm not even sure if it's still true to this day. I still have to do some more rediscovery myself. But she mentioned that with the new wave of matriarchy coming within the world, that because some women are asexual, that men won't be needed anymore. And I was like, this is kind of interesting to me. So I asked her the question. I was like, well, if the female egg selects the sperm, that would imply that the egg, on a biological level, is aware of the strongest sperm out of, let's just say, 1 billion, right? So if the egg selects that man or that woman, then biologically you already know that this is the man or woman that's going to be able to provide and be the strongest, and be the one to serve me in the best way possible, that's conducive for me in my life and for our children. But how is a man able to do his part in a world today where that there's going to be some people, men and women, that aren't really familiar with this knowledge or with this energy, and they use it in the wrong manner? You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, imagine being exposed to, imagine being exposed to the substance that gives you power, like an X-Men or something. So like, you're a mutant. You now have this new ability, and with Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. You now have to understand what it's like to live your life while having this power, and also on the other side of that coin, be aware enough to be able to use it in the right manner. And I just don't think that a lot of people, men and women, will be able to really do that nowadays. Because as you said, like, with a lot of cultural appropriation going on, a lot of people are coming from a genuine place of wanting to know without having done the shadow work, and just based on a few comments that I mentioned to her, she thought that I was sad. She thought that I was angry because I just had some valid questions as far as like,
another angry black man, no?
right, or just another angry, sad king. And I was like, nah, this isn't the case. And then she was a melanated woman as well. Her argument was that, if it's about us for 1 minute, y'all get sad and y'all get butthurt and y'all just can't let us have this. And I'm sorry that you see it that way. And I had to explain that. I was like, I'm not sad or angry at all. I'm curious as to if you're aware of what you're even diving into, because I'm sure that you're coming from a place of love and compassion, but you're spreading this message to people who haven't done the foundational work yet. it's like being exposed to something that you just want to immediately latch onto because it makes you feel good in the moment without understanding that there's a big responsibility that goes along with that.
You know, if it's looking just nowadays, you know, especially like with social media, you know, all of this, okay, we need to heal, you know, you're worth it, and na. It sounds beautiful. Everybody is worth it. Everybody deserves it. Everybody has the right to heal. You know, all of this is valid. But at the same time, what, from my own experience, from my own observations, is that it is not for everybody. Or let me rephrase it. It's not for everybody at a specific, at the point in time where they are now. You know, where they are now in life. It's not for everybody. Right. You know, first of all, you need to. I think I told you this the last time one of our teachers. Well, the first thing that he told me was, you know, we need to first, if we want to heal, if we want to be worth it, etc. pp. First thing that we need to do is admit to ourselves that we are full of shit.
Yeah. Yes.
We need to admit to ourselves that we're full of shit. Yeah, that's the very, very first thing. Because if you really look at it, you know, all the stuff that is going on social media. Hey, I just had my breakfast. Hey, I just did my workout. Hey. Man, you know, like, just imagine, you know, you're looking out of your window and everybody opens up their window and would just blurt out into the world, hey, I just did this, I just did that. What would people reply? I don't care, man. I really don't care. You know, so it's funny that we need this. It is funny that we need to put all of our shit out there for it to. We basically want people to look at our shit and tell us your shit has value.
Yes.
You know, that's one of the. That's one of the first things, you know? And then, of course, like I just said, not everybody is ready due to where they are in their lives, mentally especially. And then what a lot of people find hard to realize is that it actually takes work. It actually takes work. You know?
Say it again for the people in the back.
It takes work, brother. So, and the thing is that and I'm telling this to my students a lot of times. Your mind, it is not your friend. So one thing I like to do in my class, you know, is to just try to rotate one arm forwards and the other arm backwards. So if you look into the room, you have a lot of people either rotating both arms forward or both arms backward, but the minority of people are actually able to rotate one arm forward and the other arm backward, but they're doing it in a serious way, really thinking that they're actually doing what I told them to do, which is rotating one arm forward, the other arm backwards. So while they are rotating both arms forward or both arms backwards, they are thinking that they are rotating one arm forward, the other arm backwards. So that shows that their mind is tricking them into believing that they are doing what they think that they're doing, but as a matter of fact, they're not. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So your mind is not your friend. Your mind does not want to sit there, you know, retain your semen, do the breath work, this and that. So a lot of times people, they start out very, very, very enthusiastically, but then it's like, oh man, you know, let me watch one more episode. Let me lay in bed 5 more minutes. You know, there's always some postponing going on, and you know, and a couple of blinks later, you know, you haven't done your practice for like 10 days. You know, So all these things, it takes a lot of dedication also. And if we're talking about people who are exposed to, let's just call it like powers in general, whatever we want to call it. Also, this is nothing new under the sun, man. So also in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, in the 3rd chapter, he talks about power. So they're called siddhis. Basically, in a nutshell, it is about you're doing certain practices of yoga. You know, you're basically detoxifying your body, your mind. You know, you're becoming more clear, and you're able to tap into these powers, which we, as a matter of fact, we do have. Yes, like telepathy, all these things, you know, like from our own experience, these things are possible. So, however, Patanjali says, okay, good, these things, if you're doing a practice, they might arise, they may not arise. But if they arise, stay equanimous towards them. don't let them conquer you. You have the power over them, but don't let them overpower you. It's just like smoking weed, for example. It's okay to smoke some weeds. At least in my world it is. But don't let the weeds smoke you. It's basically like with everything, man. Like you can have your social media account. You can go out. You can play PlayStation. You can go shopping. You can do whatever it is. But always let there be balance. Don't let it overpower you. There's no such thing as good habit, bad habit. There's no such thing. It's about finding the balance of it. And these powers, the cities, potentially, or in the yoga scriptures in general, they are considering them to, if you use them for your own gains, then again, it is doing the opposite to what we want to do in yoga. So it basically increases, it inflates your ego as opposed to helping you to let go of your ego. Yeah. So if you're using these powers, you should use them not for your own sake, but for the benefit of humanity. Yeah. Not for your own gain.
Yes, I completely agree with that wholeheartedly. And you mentioned about people being full of shit, and that being the basis foundation of allowing yourself to step into this new realm of powers that we all have. And a lot of people like the idea of being able to fly, man. A lot of people like the idea of being able to, shoot laser beams out your hand or go invisible, things of this nature. I mean, we all as kids really are infatuated by this idea, but at the end of the day, the master, he or she doesn't become the master by just sitting at the mountaintop and oming all day. It doesn't work like that. Like, we're here to enjoy this experience along the way. But if you're not happy within your process of you doing your practices, then you won't ever be able to, well, you'll reach it. It's just going to take you a really long time. I'm not going to say that you won't ever, but you'll eventually reach a place of contentment within your own self. But because you don't find joy within the process, you're going to allow your ego to govern how you feel within that moment. Again, I was just talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and she said that she's going on this 30 days of joy because she realized that within the process of her fasting for 50 days straight, which is on her 50th day, I'm completely happy for her. That is a milestone. She found that she's always looking for the next best thing. She's like a dog. If she caught something, she wouldn't know what to do with it. And it was interesting because it reminded me of me when I started the path in 2014. I was obsessed with optimizing every single aspect about myself. But in the process of me doing that, there was no joy along the way. Like, I was tired all the time. I didn't want to hold my seat. I didn't want to do more research about the Eastern Taoist philosophy to find out why a man should hold a seat, the importance of semen retention, what it does to you energetically and biologically, how meditation detoxifies your blood, detoxifies the oxygen within your blood. I didn't want to do that. I just knew that at that point in time, it was the knowledge that, I needed to gain so that way I can better serve people later on down the road. It's a lot of people are in the aspect of like, I see this person at the top of the mountain. Forget the journey. I just want to get to the end of the movie. And it's like,
beam me up, Scotty. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yes. Man, it's like walking into a movie theater and you catch the end of the movie and you say, okay, I'm going to watch it again. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it's even if it isn't a good ending or it is a good ending, you won't be able to fully appreciate the weight of that because you don't know what that person went through. You don't know what that individual went through to get there. And social media has a very, very strong way of making you feel like you're not doing enough. It has a very strong pull to you. Like, I look at social media. I don't know how well versed you are with Black Mirror, but there's an episode in Black Mirror where everything is based on your rating, right? So there's this lady, and she has a 4.2 or whatever within the social media.
Okay, yeah. I think I saw that. That's what happened. That's what's going on in China, man.
Yes, right. And
for their citizens.
And that is crazy. I just watched a video about that the other day, and I was like, it's coming to that. It is becoming that there are some people that cannot live without their social media. They can't live without their followers. It literally is all that they have. And I thought about it. I was like, it's only a matter of time until that starts to transition into the States, because a lot of people right now, It's not that they're unable to have a conversation. A lot of people aren't present. You know what I mean? Like they're so far gone into some other damn world, but at the same time, they're on their breath work. They're on their urine therapy. They're on their yoga and meditation. And it's like, if you really wanted to adopt this practice and teach it to people, you would do the difficult thing. You know what I mean? And you said, like, if you smoke weed, that's cool. Don't let it smoke you. Like, what's more important to you? Numbing yourself down to your emotions because you're unable to handle them at that point in time, and you're allowing this old construct to dictate how you go about handling your emotions, or you're going to choose the latter and say, I'm going to sit within my emotions, find out what the root cause of this is, ascend from it so that way I can continue to move up the ascension, move through my journey in my own way. And then there are some other people that would say too, well, that individual that is choosing to, do drugs, or that individual that's choosing to use alcohol as an escape, that is also a part of their journey. Yes, I'm not denying that that's a part of their journey. But as you said earlier, there are some people that are initiated, and there's some people that are uninitiated. So for the people that are initiated, it's like, what it is that you need to do. You know that you have the fortitude and the will to do it, but you're actively choosing not to because you're comfortable where you're at right now. And the only person that you're going to have to blame or point the finger at is yourself at the end of the day. Like, you have to tell yourself that you're full of shit to get past this.
Absolutely.
It's just something that you really want.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So the thing is about any practice, that you want to do to better yourself spiritually, or even, just like going to the gym or whatever it is you want to do, the practice. Oh, let me rephrase it like this. Your life should not support the practice. Your practice should support your life.
Yes.
So like, I mean, you want to get physically healthy, like what is it good for if you run to the gym, like, like 6 days a week, you eat healthy, all of this, but then, you're not able to actually go out and meet your friends because, no, I need to go to the gym. No, I cannot go to this place, because they are serving food that I'm not able to eat, so because, man, I lived in India for like good 4 or 5 years, maybe like, like one times a year, 2 years, this, that, back and forth. And I spend a lot of time, like places like Mysore, it's like the Mecca of yoga. Also, Dharamshala, where the Dalai Lama lives, Rishikesh, Goa, like all these places where people would go to find themselves. I want to go out. I want to go to India, and I want to find myself. I want to find the guru who has all of the solutions. Yes, I mean, like you can find these people over there, no doubt. But what you must not forget is these places, they are bubbles. Like the NBA had their bubble to do their stuff over there, like Disneyland. These places are bubbles, and everything in that bubble caters to your practice. From food, from the people that are around there, like if you tell, especially somebody in the yoga community that's never ever been to Mysore, they think like, oh my God, I think like everybody's like floating around on air over there, But it's just people, But the point is, all these places, from the restaurants to everything that goes on over there caters to your practice. You do not need to worry about changing your kids' diapers. You do not need to worry about paying your bills. You do not need to worry about buying the groceries. So the point that I want to make is, in these bubbles, your yoga, your shadow work, your meditation, your Tai Chi, whatever it is you're doing, it is easy. It is so easy because you don't have anything else to do, right?
Yeah.
So then, then people go into these places, they have beautiful, nice experiences, like they think, oh my God, my Kundalini is rising. I'm cleaned out all my chakras, like I'm enlightened. And then they're back at home.
Yes.
And then they're back at home, and then what is happening? Oh no, I cannot live in this place, like everything is too much, no. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, good. So you did all this work, and you're back 1 week, and you're back to ground zero. You're back at zero again. So what did you actually do? So the point is, we need to make these practices sustainable in our everyday life. Yes. So if we are looking at all these practices, we especially the practices which are mentioned like in old scriptures and all over the world, not only like in India, also China, Tai Chi, Qigong, all this stuff. We must not forget that when these texts were written, these were different times. These texts are like, 2,000 years old, and, from the medieval times. People did not have no social media, they didn't have the problems that we have nowadays. So we need to put all these things into context. Can I really, just fast for 1 month, do 2 hours of asana practice, 1 hour of pranayama practice, 1 hour of meditation practice. Then I need to go to work for 8 hours. Then I need to, play with my kid. I need to do this. I need to do that. This is not sustainable. So when you were saying back in 2014, you started out and you just felt like, man, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need, once. I need to do this practice. I need to read that. It is not sustainable, man. Yes. It is. And not only that it is not sustainable, it is also not practical. So when I'm saying that your practice should support your life, you should not change anything in your life. The change, not like actively, like now today I will start being a vegetarian and I will not jerk off. All of these things.
Yes.
If the practice works, then all these things will change naturally. You do not need to deliberately force anything, like all these things, they will happen because the practice works, and if the practice works and these things, because what we're talking about, so, okay, good. Let's look at gold. Yeah.
Okay.
You do not find, like a beautiful golden necklace, like if you're digging in the dirt. As a matter of fact, you just grab that lump of dirt and you want to clean out the gold, right? So then how do you do that? You heat, you of course you clean from the mud and whatnot, but then the gold is full of impurity. So how do you get these impurities out? You need to heat that gold up. And that is what we call, or if we're looking at a diamond. Yeah, diamond, nice and shiny, but it doesn't come out like that. It takes the pressure of like thousands or millions of years that it is in the earth to create that diamond. So diamond is created under pressure. Gold is created by heating it up. And this is what we call in yoga tapas. And tapas literally means like cooking something. And the cooking refers to your practice. You want to ignite that fire. You need to have that determination. You need to have that willingness. And that is why I said all these things, it is hard to do. It is not for everybody,
Yes.
So, and then if we are doing these practices, if they work, we cannot just think, okay, good, I'm like gold, but I'm full of mud and I can just like, become a shining amulet or whatnot. So we need to put the work in, but we also need to be realistic. These things take a lot of time. So again, also Patanjali, he mentioned in the Yoga Sutras that the practice needs to be sustained for an extended amount of time and with indifference. So we need to practice on a regular basis and be basically indifferent to the result. Meaning we should practice not in the hope of, okay, I will become enlightened, I will be able to float this, that, no. If these things are happening, good, more power to you. If these things are not happening, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing. Because, I think a big misconception of nowadays, the meditation and all these practices around this, that, the people have the expectation of something great happening. But as a matter of fact, nothing really is happening. You're just becoming more aware of the things that are already there. You can, I think I mentioned this example before. You can just consider enlightenment as being the kernel of the onion. It is already there, but you have all these layers around the kernel, around your enlightenment, around your becoming self-aware, capital S, that is clouding your perception of your own true self. So it is not about, okay, I'm gonna sit there, meditate, I let my kundalini rise. No. It's actually about letting go of stuff. So I think like there was also like one. So the Buddha was one time asked, so like all this stuff, what did it give you? What did it give you? What did you get? And he answered, I didn't get anything, but I lost a lot of things. I lost fear. I lost being I basically was able to shed my ego. So it's not about gaining; it is about letting go, because everything is already there, man. Everything is already there. And from my own personal experience, reading stuff in books, and then you practice, and then it's not like you gain something, but it's more like you're getting confirmation. It's like, okay, good, I knew it. I knew it. It's really just about letting go a lot of things, because everything that you want to be, you are already. It's about just lifting the veil. It's about trying to step out of the matrix. And once you took that first step, you just need to keep walking, man. You just need to keep walking. I'm not saying that I'm able to do my practices every day, but I try to keep it regular, and that is what it's actually about. Don't hang your goals too high. Don't think, okay, good, today I will meditate for an hour. Keep the goals low. Start to think, okay, today I will meditate 5 minutes, but I will meditate. I will not try to sit there for an hour and maybe, okay, good, man. When is this alarm clock gonna ring? Oh man, I still need to do this. You're not meditating, man. You're sitting there with your eyes closed, daydreaming. So it's about setting small goals that you are actually able to reach. And then from that, of course you get some gratification, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then you say, okay, good, I'm able to do 5 minutes tomorrow. Let me try 7 minutes. So just slowly, step by step. And during this process, you are creating new positive patterns and habits. Because if you're looking at, there's nothing like free choice or free will, man. We're running on habits. So to put it into a technological framework, like we are running on apps. We have an application for this. We have an application for that. We have an application for, okay, like I find this girl hot. I have an application of, okay, well, am I going to vote Biden or Trump? I got the application for, that is on sale. Should I get this or should I get that? So many apps are running in our mind, and all these practices are basically there to shut down more and more apps. And while we're shutting down more and more apps, we're able to free up more run, right? We're able to run better in our everyday life. We're still doing what we're doing, but we're able to do the things with more awareness, with more clarity, with more efficiency also. So that's, at least in my opinion, out of my experience, that is what it's about for me now. I'm a father, I'm a husband, so it is not practical for me to think, okay, good, I need to get up at 3:30 in the morning and bust out my asana practice and pranayama meditation. Man, once it's 10 o'clock, I'm dead tired. I just could fall asleep again, But no, at 10 o'clock, I need to go to teach this and that. So this is not practical for me as a father, as a husband. So, and we always need to consider these things with regard to our dharma. Yeah. So dharma is our spiritual and social duties. Yeah. So you're in the armed services. It is your dharma to, to protect the way of free living. Just forget about it. But you know what I'm saying. So yes. We first need to consider, what is my duty in life? Do I need to provide for somebody, or can I do whatever I want? If I need to provide for somebody, then that should be my first priority. So then when I'm looking at the practices that I want to do, are they complying with my duty, with my priority to be able to provide? If yes, then this is the practice for me. If not, then it is not the practice for me. So then again, we're coming back to saying that not everything is for everybody. Yeah. So there are practices for everybody, meaning for everybody's mind. There are people which are more intellectual. Some people, they are more devotional. Some people, they are more emotional. Some people, they are more rational. So for everybody, there are certain practices. And nowadays, it's like, with all of these practices being offered on the social media and online, it's like, how are you going to choose? And I mean, and that's something that choice that you want to make, nobody can make that choice for you. Nobody can tell you, oh my God, this is such an amazing practice. You need to try it. It will change your life. nobody can make that choice for you. So what I can recommend, take a pick, practice. If it doesn't work, practice. If it doesn't work, keep practicing. Just see how it works out for you. So let's say you want to write a thesis. Yes, okay. The thesis name, I want to better myself. I want to find enlightenment. So you start out your research, right? But then in the references of one research, you find another reference. So you go to that. So on and so forth. So there's so many things that you want to read into, you want to look into, and it becomes very, very confusing. But at some point, you're able to weed out what is not for you. I think that's this one quote. I'm pretty sure this one quote by Bruce Lee, and I'm just paraphrasing now. It's basically, adapt what is yours, neglect what is not for you, and that's what is yours. Make it your own. Make your own thing out of it. So at the end of the day, because you already know what is for you, it's just your vision is clouded. But the more you do these things, the less clouded your vision will become. So the more clarity you will get. So you will be able to see, okay, like this, I tried it. This is for some reason does not work for me, but something very specific from that practice is working for me. Okay, so let me take this. Let me make it mine. Okay, there's another thing. Okay, I did this. I practiced that. Wow, this really works in some form, but something is missing. So let me take a little bit of here and integrate it. So, but then again, also it is becoming a little bit tricky because now you will have certain things that are coming from tradition. So let me say it like this. A lot of things that I learned, some meditations, pranayamas, this and that, I learned it in a specific way from my teachers. But me personally, in my own practice now, I'm not practicing like they taught me. I'm practicing in a way how it works for me. Yes. So in their opinion, maybe they would say, no, you need to practice like this, otherwise it will not work. Okay, good. That might hold true for you because you practice in that way and it worked for you. But for me, it did not work. But what I'm doing now, it works for me. So at the end of the day, you will know exactly what works for you and what does not work for you. And these things that are working for you, share it with people. By all means, share it with people. But one thing I also tell my people that are practicing with us, I'm telling them everything that I'm sharing here with you, everything that I'm telling you, always take it with a grain of salt. Don't take my word for it. Practice it for yourself. Experience it for yourself. All these things, they are experiential practices and experimental practices, meaning you need to practice it to experience. Yeah, because you can read so many books on meditation and now you can have a whole library. If you don't try, if you don't practice, you might as well light a match and burn all this stuff because you don't have the experience of it. So once you have the experience of it, then you can experiment with it. Yeah, yes. Because the more you experience, the more you experiment, the more it will become your own.
Yes, that was very well articulated. And you mentioned being able to just throughout your journey, traveling to different parts of the world, staying in India and for 4 or 5 years and adopting all of these practices from these different gurus and masters. You, within your own journey of traveling, you took what completely resonated with you and you're applying it to your life as best as you can, which is in a way as conducive as it can be for you. And
exactly.
A lot of people, or most people, just based on what I see, are so they think that they're so far behind simply because they're not doing it at the level somebody else is doing it. Let's take yoga, for example. I have a small goal of wanting to be able to sit in a full lotus. For some reason, the source within me feels that being able to sit full lotus, ankles in the crevices of my hips and meditating in that stance, for me, that is a level of why. I don't know. It's just, it's something that I'm drawn to in a sense, but I also know that there's a process that comes along with that. As men, we naturally have tight hips. So if my goal is to eventually open my hips and stretch those muscles and lengthen them long enough so that way I can be able to sit in a full lotus comfortably, there's going to be a process that I'm going to have to work through on a daily basis to see myself get to that goal. And whether that even being like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes of just hip opening, hip stretches daily and low back stretching just to release all of that is going to take some time. As you said, we can't.
But
go ahead.
Let me just interrupt you right quick. I'm sorry. So the lotus posture, that's actually like the prescribed posture, like in most of the yoga scriptures to be sitting in meditation. But and that's actually like a big thing in the yoga community, especially with regard to asana, with regard to the practice of postures. Because people, they are thinking, okay, I'm practicing yoga, and it's going to get me to enlightenment. But they're actually chasing postures. Okay, now my hip open. Now I can sit in lotus. Now I want to get my leg behind my head. No. So it is the same thing. I want to have the bigger house, the bigger car. I want to have that next posture. So that is the fallacy of it. Why you want to sit in lotus, man? For what? It looks
right.
That's
exactly
it. And what we also need to consider is that, man, you win some, you lose some, man. Like you might be able to sit in that lotus, but I don't know, man. You maybe got to go outside, play some flag football with your homies. That somebody like is going to hit into your knee. Your knee's gone. You will not be able to sit in lotus anymore. And then what? You're going to be sad about not being able to sit in lotus anymore. So that's the thing. If we're looking at asana, the practice of postures, when you're young, you're able to do some crazy stuff, this and that. But let's be honest, you will not be able to do the crazy postures for your entire life. So they will be taken away from you. So we need to have a mindset of equanimity with regard to the postures. Also, with regard to everything, as a matter of fact, nowhere you will see in no yoga text or whatever you will see that it is wrong to be wealthy or having stuff or, like going for the flash sale on Amazon. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should pursue these things with the mindset of, okay, I have it now, and let me enjoy it. But if it is taken away from me, I should still have that same mindset. So basically, it should not matter if I have it. It should not matter if I do not have it.
Because it's gratitude at the end of the day. You're grateful to be able to. Like you said, it's not even the posture within itself can also be equated to something that's materialistic. Now that you have it, it doesn't really. Okay, you've done it. That's good, but are you able to still be grateful if you didn't have it? Are you able to still be grateful that you were able to practice this practice long enough to be able to get to this foreseen place where you think that would make you happier? And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's something that I have noticed within myself as well when it comes to materialistic things. Even before when COVID popped off, it's like the only reason I have to ask myself is like, if I wasn't exposed to this, would I even have it right now? And if the answer is no, then that tells you a lot about it tells you a lot about your ego. You know what I mean? It's like if you were never exposed to Supreme, if you were never exposed to Off-White or anything of this like high-end brand nature, to Balenciagas and all of these fancy cars, like you wouldn't feel the desire to have it. It
wouldn't be on your mind at all. It would not be on your mind at all.
And then the minute you get it, the minute you're sitting behind that vehicle or you're in this mansion and you're like, okay, I have it, now what? And it's you're back to square one. It's like the self and the I am starts to speak to you in the way of getting you to realize that this isn't something that you actually desired in the first place. The only reason you desired it is because your ego was telling you that maybe this could be something that could fill that void of lack that you feel within yourself. And the only way that you can fill that void of lack is by taking the time to look at your own shit. to take it back full circle. Is like it's interesting, man, because like that, it's I don't want to say I pride myself on this, but once you get exposed to the matrix, you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? Like you find yourself, let's say you're with your family and, and you're in Best Buy or whatever, and you see like this 65-inch TV. Time kind of slows down and you step out of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like bullet time, like, and then within that moment, you are watching you. And you step back with awareness and you're looking at yourself like, now let me see what you're really about to do right now. And it doesn't necessarily matter what you do. You're just, because you're aware now, you're able to observe different parts of you making decisions from a place of lack or from a place of compassion. And when it starts to happen at a rapid rate, like maybe daily, maybe just within that moment where it slows down, I think that a lot of people need to pay a lot of intention and attention to that point in time, because it's very critical to how, you go about the rest of your life. And I like what you said about, just being able to take all these different practices into you. I know that we spoke on Avatar: The Last Airbender a lot, and I don't know. Yes, the Uncle Iroh, he mentioned to Zuko, he was like, the reason why I am the way that I am now is because I spent my life going to the different nations, and I know and I'm aware of that you need balance from water, from air, from fire, and from earth to be able to fully integrate that into your life. That's how he was able to bend electricity, because he was like, he went to the water tribe. And the only way that you can bend electricity is by learning the different texts, the different scriptures of what it's like to be able to bend water. Now you take that practice, you make it your own by bending the fire within you and turning it into electricity. And he was very intentional about it too. He told Zuko, he's like, this isn't for the weak. This can kill you. This isn't something that you just play around with, because if you aren't able to if you aren't able to move this energy throughout your body in a very fluid manner, the minute it goes across your heart, that's it. You're done. It's not even, it's over after that point. So from a very egotistical place, a lot of ego death has to happen within the world today. And I just don't think that a lot of people are willing to do the necessary work to get to where they think they want to be. Now, I voice it to people a lot of time. It's like, just because you see somebody that's able to move their diaphragm and who's empty and who's able to, I don't know, that they're able to do a full split and things of this nature. Just because you see this individual at this level, it doesn't mean that you're further along nor behind them. You're exactly where you need to be, because within you, rooting yourself within the present, you will expose yourself to what it is that you must do for you. Not to say that you've done it, not to post a picture and say that I've done this split, I'm now in a full lotus, because of this. You're able to do it because it's conducive for you. It's aiding you within your own journey. A lot of people are trying to play catch up to, even myself. I had to really step out of it myself. Again, going back to, taking the red pill and seeing the matrix for what it is. Like, once you are exposed to it, you can stop yourself, and you can easily reverse your perspective on it. You can say, okay, that was my ego during that point in time. So why was I triggered within that moment? What did it trigger within me that I haven't healed yet, that I haven't looked at yet? And then you can kind of, within that simple equation, you can solve that answer and move on to the next thing, because it no longer serves you. And as you said, with practicing, meditation, yoga, just anything that you choose to adopt within your daily life, anything that you feel that isn't conducive for you will start to fall off effortlessly. You won't need to try and do anything. It'll just leave your life. You won't even you won't tell somebody that you're doing it on the off chance of them holding you accountable. It's the same thing with categorizing in stamps. Like, people saying that they're vegan, people saying that they're breatharian or fruitarian. And people ask me all the time, like, oh, well, since you're on this plant-based thing, how would you feel if you ate a steak, or how would you feel if you ate a piece? And I'm like, I wouldn't feel like anything, because I'm not living my life based on somebody else's expectations. And when you put a stamp on something, that people like to hold that stamp against you. You know what I mean? And they like to say, you're a vegan, but you decided to have a grilled cheese sandwich. So does that mean you're not vegan anymore? And it's like, nah, I'm honoring myself within all aspects of my journey. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be plant-based for the rest of my life. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to go carnivore diet. But if I choose to go either way, I'm not going to put a stamp on it and say, this is what I am. It's what is conducive for me right now. It's what aligns right now. And a lot of people don't get that. It's the same thing, with because it's a responsibility to yourself to say, sometimes you're not going to feel like eating a mango. Sometimes you're not going to feel like, mono fruit fasting for a week or 2 weeks. But simply because social media has the tendency to make you feel like you're doing something wrong, the minute you decide to eat something that isn't in alignment with somebody else is doing based on their judgment of you, the ego is like, oh, you're messing up. You're not doing it right. And I like to tell people, I'm like, man, there is no such thing as a universe police. Like the stars aren't about to come down and arrest you because you decided to have a piece of steak, or you decided to eat vegan or to classify yourself as vegan for a year or two. Like the universe police, it's non-existent because it's all loving.
Yeah.
But we also need to learn how to give that love to ourselves. And I think that a lot of people are too caught up in feeling the need to say that they've done something to be in somebody else's good graces and not their own.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one quote by Sri Tirumala Krishnamacharya. So he's basically considered as the father of modern yoga. You know, he was like the teacher of BKS Iyengar Yoga, Pattabhi Jois, Ashtanga Yoga, Indra Devi. So, it's more or less correct that if it wouldn't have been for Krishnamacharya, we would not probably practice yoga how it is practiced and perceived today. Yeah? So anyway, so he had this one quote saying that the moment that I say I'm a yogi, I am not a yogi.
Mm-hmm.
See? So basically, so whatever, and that just applies so much to social media, you know, for me. I mean, you know, I also have my Instagram account, you know, I put a little bit of stuff on there, you know, like, oh man, like, okay, we're having some live classes, this and that. But like, if you look at most of like some yoga Instagram accounts, you know, they tape their practice and you know, put pictures up of them with like when they're doing like crazy postures and whatever, and then they quote Buddha, you know, and then I'm thinking like, what is they quote Buddha, and then please join me for, you know, my 200-hour teacher training, get like a 20% discount if you use this code. And then I'm thinking, okay, inside, like, how is all of this stuff related? It's not related at all. So the point what I'm making is, if this is your practice, if it's so dear to you, if it's like so spiritual, you're right there in nirvana, why would you want to set your phone camera up at a perfect, nice angle, you know, before you start your practice? Why would you want to do that? Because you're not practicing. The moment you're doing that, you're not practicing for yourself. You're already in your mind, okay, good, I'm going to edit like this. I'm going to put that caption on there. I'm going to use that filter. And also you're not practicing for yourself, but you are producing content. Mm-hmm. You're producing content. You're not practicing for yourself. You're not practicing for your own well-being or liberation. Of course, you will have positive effects. Yes, I'm not doubting that, but it is about the intention. Why do you practice?
Mm-hmm.
It is about the intention that you set. Do you practice because you want to put it on there? You want to, you know, like put yourself out there because you want to promote yourself, or are you sincerely practicing? You know, and that's just like crazy, man. You know, like in the yoga community, spiritual community, to be perfectly honest with you, mostly everybody is in yoga, spiritual community, all this stuff. If you look in all these places like Rishikesh, Bali, Goa, man, there are so many broken souls out there, man. There's so many like really messed up people who are then telling you, no, like sit there, you know, like meditate, do it for yourself. You deserve this, you know, like think positive and all this crap. Man, I'm telling you, and it's just so much confusion out there, man.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people, not only in the yoga community, also or spiritual community, the entire planet. There's so much confusion going on, and that is also, you know what, to actually talk about like the elections and with Trump and everything. So my opinion about Trump is that we deserve, or the U.S. deserves this kind of president. You know why? Because it reflects the mental, he reflects the collective consciousness. Everything that's going on the planet, it reflects our collective consciousness. And if we're looking out in the world, it's a mess. So hence, our collective consciousness is a mess. So what is the collective consciousness made up of? Our individual consciousness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everything that's out there, we are the creator of it. And Trump, man, he's just like representing the zeitgeist that's going on right now. So if he's getting reelected, you know, we deserve it. We deserve a president like that. You know, we have to deal with it. He's basically our karma that we have to work up with. He's the shit. He's our shit open and present for everybody to see it on the world stage. This is our shit. We have to deal with this shit.
Yes, yes. And I like to think about the second lockdown as round two of shadow work, you know what I mean? Because it's been a pretty long year, and we have been forced to look at our shit, right? You know, round one, you may be, okay, this is hard, it's tough, and there's a lot of tears, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, obviously some gratitude along with it as well. But at least within Europe today, in some areas, they're going into round two. So I like to say quotes lockdown.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like in the States. I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure they might be doing the same thing. So I believe that within round two, a lot of people are going to be exposed to more of those dark corners of their own Pandora's box within their mind.
Yes.
I mean, and then now it's that, and maybe it's also a second chance too, because there may have been some people that may not have chosen to go within during the first round of lockdown. They may have just done everything and anything within their possibility to distract themselves. You see, I'm bored inside the house, and I can't wait to go out and hug people and get drunk and party and everything. And it's like, okay, I'll let you have this one, but now you have a second chance. You have a second chance to do the work. And I'm not sure what's going to happen after this event on the 21st. I don't even know what it's going to be like or what is going to happen. But what I do know is that, going back to what you said, is that it's not meant for everybody to be initiated. That there has to be some form of a balance. And for the people that are uninitiated, just based on some of the rediscovery that I've done, those individuals may end up becoming agents of the system, or they may end up becoming dependent on the system, if we're going to speak in matrix terms. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong with them necessarily. It just means that within the way the world is today, their consciousness isn't meant to see the world from that light. And you meet people who are a mirror of that. You know what I mean? Like, you meet people who allow the fear to dictate everything that they're going through within their life. Like, before I came here, I came home from work one day and I saw my neighbor. I kid you not. I guess she ordered DoorDash or something. And she told the guy to sit the food on her little patio, and she reached through the window and she grabbed it. And in that moment, in that moment, I was like, we can't be here. Like, this is where we're at. We're here. I was like,
man. Yes. It's a lot of fear mongering. It's a lot of fear mongering. And, it's definitely round two. It seems like, at least like here in Europe, you're locked up again. And, but, sometimes, I mean, it's not for everybody, at least maybe not in this lifetime. But exactly what I want to say is, not everybody even knows about these things. Not everybody has access to these things, And to be perfectly honest with you, some people, they can simply not relate to it. They cannot relate to it, And there's also nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So, I mean, everybody's, at the end of the day, everybody's on their own path. Everybody's on everybody's walking in their own pace, in their own shoes, all of this. So you cannot really worry about anybody else. The only person that you need to and can worry about is your own self. And then you can do your work, and then you can only lead by example, because it doesn't, also some members in our family, if you would talk to them about this stuff, they would be like, man, what you been smoking, man?
Dude.
So not everybody can relate to these things, and that's all right as well, So just like for me, like my duty is to provide for my family, to share what I learned, what I was able to experience with the people that are practicing with us, and that's all I can do. That's all I need to do. This is my dharma, This is my duty to society, This is what chose me, I never wanted to, be a yoga teacher, this and that, it just happened, yeah. So
yes.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's really about trying to nourish, to just become aware. Why would you want to buy that? Why are you agitated right now? Why is this person irritating you right now? So like a very, very simple exercise really is just lie on the floor, make yourself comfortable, take a blanket, lie on the floor. Just try to relax your body, scan your body, or just observe your body, like from your toes, over your legs, to the crown of your head. Just observe your body. Then observe your breath. How is your breathing pattern? Is it fast? Is it slow? Where are you breathing? Are you using your abdomen? Are you breathing more into the thoracic spine? Where are you breathing? Then observe your thoughts, observe your mind. Don't judge, don't think, okay, this was a good thought, this was a bad thought. Just observe. And then you should actually realize, okay, I'm able to observe my own mind thinking. You can observe your own mind thinking. You can look at your own mind. So then you need to think, okay, good. If I am not my thoughts, who am I? What am I? What or who is that entity behind the mind which is able to observe the mind?
Yes.
So if we're looking at somebody is really like starting to irritate you, okay, just observe that emotion. Because if you're looking at emotions, desires, they come in waves, right? So it's like it kind of like creeps up on you, and you feel a little bit uneasy. Oh man, okay, I want to really buy this, and at the peak of it, you're actually buying it, and then you're enjoying it, and then the wave goes down, and then okay, good, let me just buy something else. Just like the concept of it having basically emotions, desires coming in waves. So if we are able to catch that wave, or not catch it, but if we're able to observe that wave before it ascends up, before it rises and before it comes to that peak, then that's the point where we're actually able to really do some work. We need to be able to see the beginning of the wave. We're need to see the beginning of the desire. Once it hits the peak, it's too late. Once you want to hit a guy, once you want to hit that like button, or you want to buy something, once it peaks, then it's too late. So, and of course, once it descends, then again we're back to square one, right? So again, we want to have a new desire, so on and so forth. So we really need to catch that wave when it starts to creep up. When we slowly start to feel a little bit uneasy, that's the point when we need to hold in. We need to, if somebody starts to agitate you, we need to become aware of the point when our breath starts to become faster, more deeper. You take deeper breaths, your heart rate increases. That's the point where we need to intervene. If we're able to intervene there, it's like, okay, good, now I'm able to see my breath. It starts to become a little bit faster. Okay, because the moment you start observing, you're able to get control over these things. And then you're able to calm yourself down. And then you're able to respond as opposed to react.
Yes. That is, oh my goodness. That's a way to close out for sure. And it's just to add on to that real quick. It's really imperative, because it's going to take a while. It
takes time and practice, man. And I'm not saying it is easy. I'm struggling every day. I'm struggling every day with my own practice and observing, but that's the practice. That's the practice. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yes, I love when Morpheus told Neo that there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
Yes.
And the minute you start walking, it is forever continuing. Like when you the very first time you can stop yourself, that bullet time happens, and you step out of yourself, and it's like you're in a video game. You can react or you can respond. And then, you got this little meter at the bottom, it's like reaction time. Okay, like choose, time's running out. Within that moment, that is a 1% increase that you are able to have if you choose to respond. Now, within responding, that takes energy. That means that you have to honor what you're feeling. Take a step back, breathe deeply, breathe into your belly. Find out what's happening. Find out why it is that you're triggered. Find out if it's this person that has made you angry, if you've allowed this person to make you angry, or if it's something within you that has come up that has got you angry. Can you articulate it to this person in a way to say, hey, this, you saying that or you doing this brought this up. Therefore, I reacted in this way. I apologize for it. ABC 1, 2, 3. Once you're able to do that within your day-to-day life, it becomes easier. It becomes, the practice never is not challenging. It just becomes easier along the way because you will be tested along the way. But that's a very good way to close that. I think a lot of people will resonate with it and will also take the time out to really use that small little exercise to tap into themselves, to be more present within themselves, to actually feel the blood flow within their veins, to see if they can sense the pulsing within their arms, within their legs, within their feet, truly applying intention and attention into their breaths to root themselves within their body and not be so fixated on external sources. I think that a lot of people will definitely resonate with that. And before we close out here, where can people get in contact with you? How can they find out more about what it means to really practice yoga? And what is one more piece of wisdom that you're able to share so that way people can adopt this and maybe if they choose to apply it to their life?
Oh man, how to contact me? I mean, like on nowadays social media. Yeah, we're not going to get around that one. Social media. So yeah, man. I mean, like you can maybe just like tag me on your Instagram. Like when you post this podcast or whatnot. Otherwise, I mean, what it boils down to, like what we all need is just be a good person. You don't even need to bring any great philosophical concepts into this. At the end of the day, our intuition, that small little voice in the center of our chest, it will let you know everything that you need to know. And I mean, basically follow your gut. All these small little like saying follow your gut. It's like, oh man, really? That's the most simplest concept to follow. Follow your gut because your gut knows. Follow your nose knows, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, like in all seriousness, that's the best. I don't like to give advices, but just listen to your heart because you know when you're doing something wrong. When something is right. If something is right for you. That person is toxic. You should not be with them. All these small little things. We always brush them to the side, but we know that is our natural intelligence, our spiritual intelligence, not the intelligence, or you got a PhD, or the square root of 1,875, not intelligence like that, but emotional intelligence. And I think that is the part that we need to listen more and more and more, and especially not to shut it up, not to suppress it. Listen, apply, see what happens, have a positive experience. Basically, do you know the movie by Jim Carrey? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Exactly that. Say yes. Just say yes.
I like that. Just say yes, everybody. Obviously, if it resonates with you, say yes. But you'll definitely know. You'll get a tingling sensation. Your spidey senses will start going off, and you'll be able to decide whether or not this is something that is for you, or if it's not for you, if it aligns, or if it doesn't align. And with that, thank you, brother. I really appreciate this. I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the physical. Everybody, be safe out there. Stay true to yourself, and always remember: the nose knows. With that, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Later.